last couple of months I've noticed that. And my voice goes sort of hoarse.
Well, you don't want to talk much longer then, or?
I don't think that has anything to do with it. It's just sometimes seems to happen. The night when we were with the girls, I know I was saying something. I think I was talking to Maddie or something, and I knew my speaking had sort of gone, and speaking in very queer fashion, and I thought, but she didn't say anything, so I don't know.
Anyway, so then you went to England in 1934 to go to the school in what's it, the Hogham School in Bognor, or?
No, I didn't go because they were there for, I'm not sure, a year and a half or something. That was the way they did it. They worked for 5 years or so, and then they got, depending on which you went, but all the places did this. And the person got a year and a half or 2 years, I suppose it depends on how long. But all the companies and everybody did that because don't forget, they had to go back to England by ship, and it took full 3 weeks getting from India to England. So that, it just wasn't worth going for a couple of months sort of thing. So they had this, as I say, year and a half, 2 years. And I think that time, it was probably a year and a half. And I went to school.
So you went with them at the same time, you mean, when they went back?
Pardon?
You went back to England with them when they went
them,
back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, of course. And then we went straight to where my aunt lived. And she, as I told you, she was a widow and
Wow.
unwell. And she had this house, and my grandmother.
In Bognor?
No, it was in a London suburb called Leytonstone, Ley.
Oh yeah, I guess I've heard of that. Yeah.
Tonstone,
Okay.
TonsTone.
Yeah.
Which was actually, you went up the road and you were in Epping Forest. You know what Epping Forest? That was I only found that out the other day. That was the forest that Queen Elizabeth gave to the Earl of Essex. Remember the one who was she was very keen on. She gave him that forest. So it's at that stage. It was a place with gravel and that, but it had trees.
I think the band Genesis, did a song about Epping Forest. I forget. Anyway.
Maybe.
So.
Yeah. So we stayed then, and we must have stayed for quite a while because I know I went to school. It was called Oxford House School, and it was a few blocks away. And then, I guess the next year, they went to Bognor. I don't know why they went to Bognor. No idea. And for I think just for a few months I went to a school there in Bognor, but they were looking around for a boarding school where I would be, because when his leave was up, they would have to go back. And as I told you before, when they left, they had been told that if I was not taken to England, the hospital would not be responsible for me, because I'd been ill so many times.
Well, the hospital in Calcutta had told them that.
Okay. And so they were looking for this. And I think she got, before she was married, my mother, I think, did volunteer work or something with the Congregational Church in London. and she'd kept in touch with the padre or whatever you call him, what do you call him? The vicar, or only it was a congregational church. It wasn't Church of England, so they didn't call them, padre. Anyway, she kept in touch with him, and I think he gave her references if I wanted to, and they must have gone to several places. I don't remember.
Oh, so the references to school, and one of them was in Bognor. And so you went to the school in Bognor.
No, I went to just for a year to one that was out of the hat sort of thing. And not for a year, I think it was just for a few months. And it had nothing to do with the school that I finally went to. Anyway, somehow she was given this place. I don't know exactly why it was recommended. And then they left, I think, they went back to Calcutta. I think beginning of September 35, and I went to school sort of 35. A few weeks later, I went
September
to the boarding school. Yeah.
35 into September or October 35 to Bognor.
Yeah.
To Bognor.
Yeah.
And what was the name of the school again?
Red Gate House School. It had a red gate. It was. There were lots and lots of these private little schools, and what the standard of education was, heaven only knows. Not much, I think. But still, and they had quite a few day pupils, and not that many. I think about 30 or so.
Boarders.
Yeah. And then I used to go for holidays back to Angel in Leytonstone. And she had, as I say, originally when we very first went there, my grandfather and grandfather, her parents, lived there, and also two of her brothers, my uncles, but then soon after both of them married and moved out. So when I used to go there, there was only my grandfather and grandmother.
So your mother's parents?
Then my mother's parents, yeah. And then next door, there was the eldest sister. She lived right next door, and she had a husband working in the West End of London, and 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter, Joan, who I'm still in touch with, sort of. No, I'm in touch now with her the daughter's daughter, and apparently the daughter, who was very good. She was about 6 or 7 years older than I was, and I think that looking back on it, she was very, very good, because she used to spend a lot of time with me. And I don't think when I was sort of 17, I don't think I would have spent time with a 12-year-old niece kind of thing. I've been above such a thing. You didn't sort of talk to 12-year-olds, do you?
Well, how old were you?
That's what I'm saying. I was the 12-year-old.
Oh, you were saying.
And it's only sort of when I grew up that I realized how much time she'd spent with me, which I only then realized was very good of her.
So so who was this again?
Well,
how
she was my cousin, you see.
yeah, and how old was she?
Well, she was about 7 or 8 years older than I was. So, no, 6 or 7, I don't know.
And what was her name?
Joan,
Joan. The Joan that you're still in contact with. Yes.
well, sort of. I'm in
Oh,
contact with her daughter.
Right. She's too old to.
Well,
to
yeah, apparently. She's in a home like,
or does she have dementia? Or?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. But I think she's past writing letters, but the daughter is. The daughter sent me some pictures and that recently, which are very nice.
Okay. And so this was. So you were at school in Bognor and spending the holidays in Leytonstone,
Yeah.
right? And then this went on for a couple of years, and then your parents came back.
It was more than that, because my father retired in the spring of '39, and they came back, and of course.
It wasn't because of the war; it was because he retired.
He retired, and that. Yeah, well, that was the sort of thing. My mother did not, or couldn't wait to get back to England, sort of thing. And my father had the idea he would have liked to have retired to. I've lost the name. What's the name of the place in southern India now, where all the computer work is done?
Oh, Bangalore or Chennai?
Bangalore. Yeah, my father always wanted to retire to Bangalore.
Why? Had he been there? Did he?
Oh yeah. Well, I think what it is, it's in the southern part, and it's high, so the weather is quite nice. Yeah, he wanted to go there, you see, and he I think the idea was, he said he'd go to England for a year and try it out, and if he didn't like it, they'd go back to Bangalore. And of course my mother did not want to go to Bangalore or any other part. And of course the war started as 4 months after he got there, sort of thing. And all